Hi, my name's Rich Harrington, and today we're taking a look at the Sony Alpha NEX-7. Now, this is a rangefinder type camera, and it's very comfortable in the hand. What you get here are multiple command dials with the ability to have a removable lens. So you get a lot of the functionality that you're used to in a more robust camera in a nice small package. Now, this camera sells for just under $1,700 as a kit, and you get a adjustable lens with that, so you can actually zoom, not a digital zoom, but a true optical zoom. And of course, you have the ability to swap out lenses. So I can go ahead here, simply push the button and turn the lens. That comes off easily. And I can go ahead and just pop on another lens like you see here, line up the dot, and a quick twist, and I've got a longer lens giving me further reach. So this particular one is from 55 to 210, and it sells for about $350. There's a wide range of accessories, including a lens baby kit for this, like we've talked about on a different review episode. All right, what do I like about this camera? Well, first off, it's really nicely put together. It just feels good in your hand. I like the fact that we've got the grip here. As you can see here, we've got great detail for grabbing, so it just fits nicely in the hand. I feel secure that I'm not going to lose this camera. Obviously, we could take advantage of using any of the straps on here or put on a wrist strap, but I really like a camera that just feels good, that I feel confident isn't going to slip out. And this camera is nice for that. Another thing that really stands out is how light it is. It's just under a pound for the body. Obviously, adding glass is going to put a little bit of weight in there, but it's not too bad. Let's talk about performance. This camera has a really wide range. Now, on its own, it can go your standard 100 to 1600. However, you have the ability to push this all the way up to 16,000 ISO. Although at those higher settings, it does start to get a bit noisy. What's great though is that this type of camera actually shoots RAW. So you could take advantage of post-processing software like Adobe Lightroom or Photoshop to remove that noise from the raw images, and it goes a long way. We've got 24 megapixels to work with, so lots of resolution, and what I really like is how easy it is to see what I'm doing. For example, up top here, we have an OLED electronic viewfinder, giving me a nice color image so I can clearly see what I'm looking at. Another thing that stands out is that the screen actually articulates, so you could adjust it here depending upon your shooting style. This means that if you're cradling the shot, you can go ahead and tilt it so you can see it, or flip it the other way if you're shooting from above. This will make it easier for you to see what you're shooting, and for example, I can even hold the camera overhead and clearly see my screen as I shoot. Notice that I've got the screen on the side there, and it makes it easy as I'm framing the shot to go ahead and pull that off. Now, this camera also shoots video, which is something Sony is known for. You've got a choice of both MPEG-4 and AVC HD video, and it writes it all to SDHC cards, so those are nice and affordable for memory. So this camera works great. Let me go ahead and put it up to the tripod here, and we'll take a look at a couple of options. All right, you're actually seeing right through the viewfinder here, and we're taking a look at just our test shot. And notice here, good autofocus, the ability for it to quickly frame up. So I'm going to push that in a little bit, and I'll just knock it out of focus. And I hold down the plunger, auto detects a focus point, pulls it in. So as you move around, you see it's very fast. Now, the camera itself has a lot of controls, and you'll see here that you can dial through the ISO sensitivity. Now, in this particular case, we're shooting with a very fast shutter, so you'll notice that it's pretty dark. Let's go ahead and adjust. The command dials make it easy to move through. And I'm just adjusting the shutter speed here to something a little more natural. Because I'm on a tripod, it becomes easy to lower that down. And you'll also see the ability to adjust the f-stop. Now, this will vary depending upon how you're zoomed. Notice in this case, when I'm zoomed in, it's 6.3. But if I back up a little bit, the lens opens up more, and I can go all the way down and really start to get much higher. All right, that's looking pretty good there. And I could use the adjustments here to affect the ISO or sensitivity, and it's really nice how responsive the menus are. There we go, nice solid shot. While we have lots of dials on this camera, they behave very easily to make changes. I like having the ability to modify the f-stop and ISO without having to go into a bunch of menus. Alright, let's go ahead and change our shooting mode, and you'll notice that just like a DSLR, this camera has lots of options, including program, aperture priority, shutter priority, and manual. I'm a big fan of shooting aperture priority. This lets me dial in the look I want by choosing my f-stop, and lets the camera do all the hard math for me. There we go. I change my f-stop to affect the depth of field. I could use exposure compensation to brighten or darken the shot as needed. In this case, since I have so much black, I'm going to open it up just a little bit to get a brighter exposure. And you see it dials in nicely. I can use the other dial here, and as I change the ISO, maybe down to something more respectable like 400 or 800 to cut down on the noise, you'll notice that the shutter speed changes to compensate. And notice you can even go in and start to manually set your white balance, which is great. You can compensate for any color cast issues, or when shooting raw, this is also easy to do during the post-production process. You see how I'm compensating here for different white balance presets, and the shot itself is changing dramatically to match the different lighting conditions. Sony did a really nice job on the menus here, giving you great interactive feedback. I'll go with an auto white balance in this case. Fire that off, and it adjusts nicely. Pushing the menu button again on top of the camera, you'll see we can cycle through different options here, including the ability to assign color profiles for how things behave. You have standard ones for situations like sunset and landscape in nighttime photography, and then specialty ones such as sepia tone and black and white. I typically shoot standard or vivid, but neutral is really good if you want to do a lot of post-production, such as in Photoshop. And all in all, a very robust menu system. Let's take a look at some of the scene selections here, and you'll see a wide range of shooting styles. I really like how it intelligently handles things like landscapes and macro photography without having to make switches to lenses. It also does a great job for action sports and handling some of the tougher lighting conditions like sunset or night portrait. The anti-motion blur does a great job of shooting in low light. It essentially acts as image stabilization, which is not usually found on this size of a camera. You'll also find a really cool panorama mode that lets you generate panoramic images. And because Sony makes a heck of a lot of 3D TVs, you'll even find a 3D panorama mode that lets you sweep the camera and it captures two images, one for the left eye, one for the right eye, so you could generate a 3D panoramic photo for playback on television. There's a lot to like with this camera. If you're looking for a compact form factor, particularly in a rangefinder style, and you want the ability to shoot stills and video with the flexibility of actually shooting raw photos, this is a great camera. I also like that I have all the shooting modes that I'm used to on a DSLR, such as aperture priority and shutter priority, as well as the ability to change things like the white balance and other camera settings. Now, this camera does have easy-to-use auto modes and intelligent scene files that will adjust based on the situation you're shooting in. However, I think if you're going to step up to this level of camera, you really want that manual control, as well as the flexibility to occasionally change a lens to match your shooting situation. For Adorama TV, my name's Rich Harrington.
Adorama TV is brought to you by Adorama, your best source for the equipment and knowledge you need. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. Place your order by 7 p.m. and it ships the same day. Plus, the next time you're in New York City, be sure to visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue. Check out the Adorama Rental Company for professional cameras, lighting, computers, and more. We'll help you make the best selection to match your needs while giving you the knowledge to achieve the best outcome from your rental. Adorama is your complete solution for equipment, printing, training, and more. Adorama, more than a camera store.